Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Teresa Greenfield. I'm a businesswoman, I'm a mother of four, and I'm a farm kid. And I'm not taking one dime of corporate PAC money because guess what? I'm putting Iowa first. You know, on the Greenfield farm, my dad always said there's no boy jobs and there's no girl jobs. There's just jobs that need to get done. And it is no different in Washington, D.C. I gotta tell you, I carry the fight of hardworking families with me all the time. You see, I was widowed at the age of 24, and my first husband, Rod, was a lineman for the power company. He was an IBEW member, so we were a union family. But you know, when he died, I became a widow with a 13-month-old and another one on the way. And I tell you, we wouldn't be here without Social Security and hard-earned union benefits. So I want you to know that I'm going to be fighting hard for hardworking families every day as your next senator, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight to get a chance to answer some of your questions. So we got lots and lots and lots of questions about healthcare, and that doesn't surprise me. As I've traveled the state, healthcare questions are the #1 concern that Iowans tell me about. And it can be related to cost. It can be related to their rural hospitals and rural communities. It can be related to the high cost of prescription drugs. They just don't understand why those costs have not come down. I'll tell you, I believe healthcare is a right. It is not a privilege. And I'm going to be focused on enhancing and strengthening the Affordable Care Act, creating a public option so every Iowan has access to affordable, quality health care. Look, Senator Ernst, she voted repeatedly to end the Affordable Care Act and gut your protections for pre-existing conditions. Make sure that your kids get kicked off your health care. And worse yet, that would end Medicaid expansion, which has kept the lights on in our rural hospitals. As your next senator, I'll be working to support a high-quality, affordable health care for all Iowans. We got a lot of questions about campaign finance reform and, of course, protecting our democracy. And for me, it starts with the fact that Washington has been corrupted by corporate PACs. You know, we're not going to get action on all the things we care about when corporate PACs play such a big role and influence our decision makers. On the farm, there were no boy jobs and no girl jobs. There was just jobs that needed to get done. And the very first job that I put out to get done is to end political corruption. And for me, it starts with 1, ending Citizens United. 2, banning corporate PACs. 3, banning dark money groups. And 4, you know, elected officials, those that serve in Congress, should not be able to become lobbyists next. Senator Joni Ernst, she's taken $1.7 million in corporate PAC donations. Me, I've taken a pledge not to accept one dime in corporate PAC money, and I've been endorsed by End Citizens United, and I'm thrilled to have them in this fight. I will always, as your next senator, put Iowa first. This is one of the #1 priorities. Taking climate action is what Iowans are talking about. I believe we have a man-made global climate crisis on our hands, and as your next senator, I will take climate action. I've had the opportunity to visit Pacific Junction and meet with homeowners who had 9 feet of water in their house and no longer will be able to go back to it or rebuild. You know, the flooding in southwest Iowa and southeast Iowa, those 3-inch rains that come, that's what climate change looks like here in this state. And we can take action, and really our focus needs to be on 1, reducing our carbon footprint. Of course, getting back into those international agreements too. But we can do that. And 2nd, making sure that we grow Iowa's economy. We have a long history of renewable energy here. We provide over 30% of our electricity with wind energy, and that's created 10,000 jobs. I want to make sure that Iowa is on the forefront of climate action and building a strong green economy. Senator Ernst, she rejects climate science, dismisses climate science. We need a new senator so we can take vital action, and I'm looking forward to taking that action and creating opportunities for Iowans. You know, I know we're all worried about the current COVID-19 pandemic. You know, the health and safety of our families is so important, but I also know that Iowans stick together and that we help each other out just like we did in our hometowns, and we'll do that again to get through these tough times. You know, I'm frustrated that Washington took too long to act, and I believe haven't done enough to help hardworking folks here in Iowa and to protect our frontline workers, of course. There are a number of things I'd like to see us continue to do. One, we have got to have more testing, and it has to be free for every single Iowan. We have to have paid sick leave. You know, folks shouldn't have to go to work sick or stay home and go broke. We need paid sick leave. We got to do more for our frontline workers. We have to have enough PPEs, and that includes enough equipment for our rural hospitals too and our rural healthcare systems. They're going to struggle. And finally, we have got to help our workers with more direct payments. I call them crisis mitigation payments. So they've got the dollars in their pockets to pay their bills and put milk in the refrigerator. You know, at the age of 24, when I was widowed, I relied on Social Security. I know how important it is to get that hand up during tough times. And we need to make sure that we're helping out Iowans who are struggling right now. You know, one of the main goals of government is to make sure that we keep Iowans safe and healthy. I'll tell you, as a small businesswoman and a mother of 4, I certainly know how to stretch a dollar. I tell you, we have to work together like we do in our small businesses and our hometowns. We've got to stop the massive tax breaks for corporations. We have to allow Medicare to negotiate for prescription drugs. Senator Ernst, she voted for a tax bill that gave huge giveaways to the biggest corporations, and it's now threatening Social Security and Medicare. As your next senator, my focus will be on making sure our tax dollars go to serve Iowans. So we got a couple questions around foreign policy, and I just have to tell you, as the mother of a son in the military, I think our first priority is to keep all our service members and Americans safe. I believe this is one issue we absolutely should be able to agree upon. It should be a nonpartisan issue. As your next senator, you know, I'll do everything I can to make sure that our Americans are safe. I am running to do a job, and that's to put all Iowans first. I'm asking to be your next senator, and I want to go to Washington to represent you and end the divisiveness. Bring back trust and transparency and focus on all of Iowa. You know, I grew up rural, and when I go back home, I see the bridges that need repair, and those bridges, they're not Democratic bridges or Republican bridges. You know, we've got to invest in broadband internet for our entire state. And so as your next senator, I'm going to be focused on putting Iowa first. So we got a couple questions regarding the criminal justice system. And you know, in Iowa, we like to give and do give our neighbors a hand up. And we cannot let our neighbors fall through the criminal justice system. And so here's what we need to prioritize. We need to invest in mental health care and addiction treatment. I'll tell you, for every dollar that we spend on addiction treatment, we save $12 on the back end. And with a growing meth addiction problem here in Iowa, that just makes great sense. Let's get that done. You know, we got a lot of questions about how to reduce gun violence in this country. And I do hear about it quite a bit on the trail. So thank you for asking. You know, I grew up rural. And of course, we were taught to shoot guns and taught to be responsible gun owners. It was really important to keep our freezers filled up in the fall, of course, to protect our animals from the varmints. And I love Sunday afternoons when my dad would throw skeet. It's probably because I was better at it than my brothers. But I will tell you, it is long past time where we've taken some action and some policies to keep guns out of the hands of people who can hurt themselves or who can hurt others, you know, criminals, folks on the no-fly list, etc. And here's where I think we start. We start by passing some bipartisan legislation to close gun show loopholes, to require universal background checks. And of course, we have to start research, understanding what are the next steps to reduce gun violence and hopefully end gun violence around this country. I'm really delighted to tell you that I have been endorsed by Giffords and the Brady campaign. And as your next senator, I will take action to reduce our gun violence and keep all Iowans safe. So we got a whole bunch of questions about women's reproductive rights, and this is pretty simple for me. I will always stand with women to make their own reproductive decisions with their doctor. Women know what are best for them. And I'm delighted to tell you that I have been endorsed by Emily's List and NARAL and will be a strong voice for women and their rights to choose their own health care. Hey, a number of people asked to learn a little bit more about me and ask for a fun fact. And I guess now's the time to tell you. I've got an identical twin sister, Maria. So look out for her when we're on the trail, okay? Also, keep your eye out on social media. My dog Ringo's learning new tricks every day.